What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourselves a great day. It is a little after 6:15 here. Wanted to talk about this, getting ready for the actual draft prospect show where we're talking about the offensive lineman tonight. But I thought, you know what? We've already talked about this, but with it being news today, let's go ahead and brush up on it in case anybody missed this valuable information. I know a lot of people talk about this stuff, but they seem to leave out the most important things when talking about trades. So let's break it all down. You heard the news today that Devin White once traded from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They want to keep him, but his fifth-year option coming up, he wants a new contract. He doesn't want to be in Tampa Bay. So the question becomes, can the Eagles afford Devin White? Now, as a fan, the question, do the Eagles want Devin White? I think anybody who knows football understands that this would be quite the upgrade to the linebacker room. So, yeah, obviously they will be interested in a player like Devin White. But the questions become, what do we have at linebacker? Do we need him? Do we have the cap space to make things happen? With Jalen Hurts extension, the draft pick cap hits coming up, can we still afford him? So we're going to look at the estimated cap space. We're going to look at the current and future draft picks. So we'll look at all the ammo the Eagles actually have and if they can actually make this trade happen. So let's break all of this down, take a gander at what the Eagles have here. Then at the end, we'll look at what Devin White has going on. So we'll look at his contract, talk about what his cap hit is, and we'll work around that. So don't worry, I've got you covered with all that stuff. But any questions, comments, anything that you would like to throw in here, please feel free to do so. But we're going to break this bad boy down, talking about not only if they can afford him, because they can. We've got draft picks. We've got cap space. It's not going to cost you much with draft capital, maybe a fifth, sixth round pick. But I think, the cap space obviously comes into play. So we're going to break all that down. Let's get it popping. We see the comments are going here. Let's go, baby. Appreciate you all tuning in. Let's get this thing going. Waste of a third rounder last year. If we have Dean sit behind where linebacker depth is a need. Yeah, I don't know who's telling you a third rounder. I would never give a third rounder for him. That is insane. Whoever's saying that. Linebacker depth is all we need. No, we also need a starting caliber guy. Yeah, we lost both of our starters. I'm not sure if you missed that show, but we talked about Kaiser White and TJ Edwards leaving. Nakobe Dean is going to step in, but can Morrow get the job done, or do they need to look to the draft or add a veteran? So we're going to break that down right here. My man, Drew, let's go. Appreciate you tuning in, dude. You know I'm about to break this damn thing down, so let's get it rocking and rolling. Good trade. Yes, he is a damn good trade. There are guys in the draft we will talk about. What is going on? My man, Sean, Wild tweeted his interest in Eagles. Yeah, and look, we talked about this, last month at whatever point. This is a guy, obviously, who wants out, and the Eagles are looking to upgrade that position. So this does not mean don't look in the draft while we talk about this, but this does mean that there will be some interest. So let's take a look at those Eagles linebackers that I mentioned here. Let's, look at what we lost and what we've got going on. So, just mentioned here, the Eagles, have a great room here, don't need anything. I am going to disagree with that. Sean Bradley, Nakobe Dean, Christian Ellis, Nicholas Morrow, Davian Taylor, not exactly the greatest linebacking room. You see, we lost both TJ Edwards and Kaiser White. So looking to replace, one of those guys. We already have the replacement. Nakobe Dean can play weak side. Maybe we throw him middle linebacker, whatever needs to be done there. That's fine. But Nicholas Morrow, we talked about it, could come in. He can definitely provide you some reps, but I don't know if you're going to feel the most comfortable just having Dean and Morrow there. So upgrade is a must, in my opinion. So as much as we talk about the draft, there's some guys I like in the earlier rounds. We'll talk about that when we get to the linebackers. But after that, real questionable, especially the linebackers we're looking for. I've heard a lot of people mention guys, but they're more edge rushers. So look, we'll talk about those draft guys when we get to that. Right now, we're focused on what we've got here, Devin White. So let's talk about this cap space. So we know he's got some money, but costing some money with the cap hit, but we know that we have money. And, you hear it all the time. Eagles don't have cap space from people who can't even do basic math. So hilarious to me, but I've been keeping you up to date in case you missed it. Here are all the notable cap hits from all of the guys we re-signed, restructured, extended, or just signed. So you see how amazing of a job Howie has been doing. If you look up the cap, it's at 19.9 million. That's fantastic, right? Great. We've got money. But then you're going to hear your negative Nancy's. Well, what about Jalen Hurts' extension and the draft pick cap hits? Oh, well, guess what? I've got those numbers for you. And if you're looking to figure out how I did this, go to the playlist on my YouTube labeled Show Me the Money, and you'll learn how I broke all these things down. But let's talk about that estimated cap space with those things added in. So we know all of the cap hits for all of the players. We know the cap space, but we're waiting for Jalen Hurts extension. That will save some money. Draft pick cap hits, that will subtract some money. So once you do all that math, you're sitting at around $18 million in estimated cap space. So we've got a lot of money to play with here. If we want to add a star player, we can definitely do that, whether it's Devin White, somebody else. The Eagles have a lot of cap space. I always laugh every year when people keep telling me, we don't have it. Where are you getting those numbers? It's like, dude, I'm breaking it down for you. If you would like to see my math, I'll happily show it to you. But these people can't even get a grasp on the basic stuff. I don't know what they think they're going to do with the accounting part of it. So I do my best to simplify it for you. If there's any questions, please feel free to ask. I am happy to help. You see so many content creators, so many media members finally learning about the cap. Hell yeah. Doing my best to change the game around here, but there's still those people out there that think they know everything. The Dan Cilios, just yelling at the wall, pissed off, just negative about everything. Send them my way. I'll happily teach them how these things actually work. Now, we've got the cap space. We know that. The draft picks, right? We talked about that. It's not going to cost you much at all for someone like Devin White. A day 3 pick is probably going to, be what it costs. Clearly, you've seen trades around the NFL. I think a guy like they know that he needs a new contract, so the team's going to have to pay for that part of it. So I think, that lessens it a little bit. You could definitely walk away, with one of those kind of picks. Thing is, Eagles don't have one of those picks for this year. So we've talked about this. Maybe the Eagles trade that 30th pick. Maybe, there's so many different options here they could go with. But maybe they acquire some more of those picks, some of those early day 3 picks. You get some 5th round guy, maybe a 4th rounder, a 6th rounder, whatever it may be. But you look in the future, you've got 12 and then 8 picks the following years. So you can trade those picks. You can move those things around. So with those 26 picks, the Eagles can definitely find a way to not only acquire more picks, but to trade for someone like Devin White. So the question becomes, well, what does Devin White cost? What's going on with Devin White? Do we want Devin White? Well, for me, the answer is yes. So I've mentioned it. He played 4 years. He's 25 years old, out of LSU, 1st round pick back in 2019 by the Bucs. But this kid, super talented. Now, last year, you're hearing it. Well, he had a terrible year last year. Well, guess what? The Buccaneers sucked last year. And I'm not much of a stat watcher. I know that's the new thing for a lot of people, but you got to take it with a grain of salt. You can look at numbers and do what you will with them, but take them with a grain of salt. You see, completion percentage given up, not so great there. But, he had 5.5 sacks last year. Somebody you can definitely send after the quarterback. I thought, an okay year, but in his career, he only has 1 interception there. So it's not like somebody you're looking at his stats and you're like, oh my God, this guy. He only has 6 forced fumbles in his career, 9 recovered, 2 touchdowns in his career, though, and 20.5 sacks. And look, this guy, almost 100 tackles in every year. He had 91 his rookie season, but after that, 140, 128, and then 124 last year. So he's a tackling machine, and he had 8 tackles for a loss. As you see last year, he has 35 total in his career. He had 16 quarterback hits last year. So somebody you can send after the quarterback, somebody I think would fit in perfectly to what Sean Desai is going to try to do here. So for me, I think he's got all the talent, still very young, and pairing him with Nakobe Dean would be phenomenal. Now, the biggest question is the money. What do we got going on with this contract? So you've seen all these contracts I break down for you. If you haven't, I'll try to explain it for you. But if you have any questions about it, let me know. Just try to give you the things you need to know about these people's contracts. You see, he's got that 1 year remaining. 25 is his age, and the cap hit is right there at 11.7. So that's the stuff you need to know about his contract. Now, the things below are the 4 moves you can make for people. You can restructure them, extend them, cut them, or trade them. And then with the cutting and trading, you have pre and post June 1st. So you see the money. If it's in white, that means that would be money you can save. If it's in orange, that means you save nothing or it's negative. So therefore, you're looking at this. The Buccaneers do not want to cut him. They are going to save absolutely no money and only take on the entire cap hit in dead money. That is a horrible idea. Now, if you trade him, you could save the entire $11.7 million. So for the Buccaneers, that's a no-brainer. That, yeah, they'll happily trade him. Sure, they might say right now, hey, we'd love to keep him around. Of course they would. They drafted him. But unfortunately, they suck. So therefore, we're looking for a new home. What you see there, though, is restructure, 0. Extend. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. He wants to be locked up, and I think the Eagles would happily give him a few-year contract. If you were to extend him, you clear up $8.5 million in cap space. So whether you work out with them that they take that on, this, that, the other thing, a lot of things can go into that. But for the cap hit, you're only going to have a $3.2 million cap hit. So you hear all this stuff about, well, they can't afford him. It'd be stupid. You have all this cash. Look, we still have around $18 million after the draft picks, after Jalen Hurts. And if you traded for him, you'd still have $15 million in cap space. So, yeah, we've got the cap space. Yeah, we have the draft picks. So, ladies and gentlemen, if the Eagles want to go trade for Devin White, they can go do just that. But let me hear your thoughts down below. Would love to feel your thoughts on this. I mean, how are you doing here in this situation with linebackers? I think that these guys, for me, they need an upgrade. So I would be happy to have this. Dean, the third rounder, Dean and Morrow will be here. Yeah, if we were to stick with what we have now, it would be Morrow. So, yeah, that's exactly why I'm worried about it. So if anyone sits, it'll be Morrow. Yeah, definitely would be him. But look, I have hope for the guy. I don't think he's horrible, but with the injuries the year before, with the things he's gone through, I think, he has to prove himself. So can't just pencil him in. You need competition there. And for a position that we finally had people at last year, it was really nice to have. So I don't want to go back to not having linebackers. As much as I like the depth we have, you need starters too. So looking for that. Morrow is a proven, yeah, he can start, but he's not some kind of all-pro starter. Morrow is better than, yeah, Davian Taylor, Sean Bradley, Christian. I'm pretty sure I'm statistically better than most of those guys. So looking for an upgrade there. Core already upgrade. Yeah, I like adding Morrow, but I would add more. So really like, yeah, there's a lot of guys in the draft I like for sure too. So we'll be talking about those when we talk about the linebackers. Will Anderson is not a linebacker. That is an edge rusher. Jimmy, let's go. Yo, my man Mark, what is going on, my dude? Yeah, and we talked about this. He'd be crazy not to want to come here last month when we talked about this. So, yep, I'm all aboard. You guys caught that video, but in case you didn't, wanted to give you this video here. White for a third-round pick. Yeah, that's what Luffy was saying earlier. No way in hell I think the Eagles would ever do that. I'm not sure who said that, but I would go for a fifth, maybe sixth rounder for him. Diane Henley. Yeah, a lot of names we'll be talking about, guys. Sending worse for them. No, they wanted to keep their good player. It's been a while since we had Jeremiah Trotter. I love Trotter. Yo, my man Leon, hope you're doing well. If you guys have any thoughts on Devin White, please feel free to leave them down below. My man Traber, what is going on? Yo, I feel the same way as you do. And, if you guys are wanting to talk about, quarterbacks or punters or something completely different than this, there are videos on all that stuff. But if it's not yet, those draft ones, I will be coming out with that. Tonight is offensive lineman, and then the rest of those will be coming out. But right now, with the Eagles, obviously, to anybody who's paying attention, lacking in the linebacking room, I think that this is clearly an option. Does it mean it's going to happen? No. But they could definitely look to add someone like Devin White. If not, we're going to talk about those draft prospects who I think the Eagles could definitely go for. So a lot of options here with the months remaining. You keep hearing the offseason's over. The season's about to start. The Eagles are set. I don't know where it keeps coming from, but we will continue to upgrade this roster, and I can't wait to see it. 17, Devin White for 10. No doubt. That is true. Morrow is only here for a year. Devin White. Yeah, you want to lock up a guy that's 25 years old, I would be all for it. Need to draft linebacker. Yeah, so we'll be talking about those guys during the draft stuff. But if you have any thoughts on Devin White, please feel free to leave them down below. I'm going to get heading out. Apparently, nobody really cares that much. But look, I think Devin White is a talented young man. And I think the Eagles, if they make this move, I would be a happy man. So let me know if you're watching this later, if you have any thoughts on Devin White. If it's on anything else around the NFL, there's probably a video on it or it's going to be coming out. That's all I've got for you right now. I'll be back later breaking down the prospect tiers and rankings for offensive linemen, but the rest of the offense is done. So go check out the quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, tight ends. Let me know your thoughts. But until next time, I am Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. I hope you all had yourselves a fantastic Easter. I myself am still pretty beat up from last week, but it was a great time. So hope you're all doing well. We're going to keep trying to get better. We got this draft coming up, baby. It's time to rock and roll. Well, how we draft? I don't know, man. We'll see. So I definitely think we're going safety. Most give up a fourth rounder for White. Yeah, I don't think I'd go any higher for fourth, but love you too, brother. Appreciate you taking the time. Hope you had yourselves a fantastic voice. Jumping the gun a little bit, but love to see it, my man, Travis. I hope you all have yourselves a great rest of your night. Hope you will tune in later talking about those offensive linemen. But until then, you all stay safe out there. And as always, Travis, get them started. Say it with me, folks. Go Birds!